Some people just don't seem to know how to behave in society. Unfortunately, even though most people have manners and common sense, there are a few idiots who completely lose their sense of boundaries. The thing is, these folks who want to act all tough sometimes end up running into someone who's not in the mood to put up with nonsense, and they learn some bitter lessons along the way. And that's exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and leave your like, click down below on the subscribe button, and let's get to it. A guy was minding his own business, walking down the street not imagining he was about to become the victim of a not-so-funny prank. Out of nowhere, a digital influencer decided to honk a horn right next to the man's ear and, well, you can see what happened, right? First of all, the prank victim didn't even get scared. He didn't flinch or panic. He just calmly turned around to face the influencer and started giving him one serious lecture. Getting close to the prankster, he gave him a nice lesson so he'd never pull something like that again on random people in the street. The prankster's glasses ended up flying miles away. After that, the guy, having finished his mission, turned his back and walked off, leaving the prankster there, basically dizzy from the lesson he got. Let's hope he learned to be more polite. Otherwise, he might end up in a much worse situation next time he tries a stunt like that. This woman had a wonderful idea to attack the police, all with some very peculiar logic. The story began when the police were called to a nightclub because the lady did something inappropriate in the place and refused to leave. But instead of staying quiet, she decided to give a show of arguments to try to justify herself. She started saying that every time someone asked the police for help, that person ended up getting arrested right afterward. It was like she was trying to convince someone of a big conspiracy theory, right? She began arguing with the officer, and of course, it seemed she wasn't sober at all because the insults started flying. The officer tried to be patient, asking her several times not to step onto the nightclub's sidewalk again. But sure enough, she kept challenging him, which made him lose patience and threatened to arrest her.
You heard me? Can you get your little notebook out? Cause I'm gonna be back on the property until you write it down.
You go to jail. Oh.
Since she had been kicked out, she legally wasn't allowed on the nightclub property anymore, and she got multiple chances to leave, but on the third or fourth time, that was it. When he tried to move in to handcuff her, the woman didn't miss the chance to shove the officer several times, as if she were some kind of hero. Then, after some pushing and shoving, the situation was resolved, and she was pinned down on the sidewalk to be cuffed and taken to jail. In a quiet parking lot, a guy was filming when suddenly a lady with nothing better to do came up and started causing trouble. She approached the guy, and he, not understanding a thing, asked if she was crazy for trying to stop him from filming there. The woman, apparently out of patience, tried to grab the phone from his hands and, to make matters worse, even tried to hit him. What happened next was worthy of a show. She fell backwards so awkwardly that she ended up sprawled on the ground like an omelet in a frying pan.
Lady, fuck, move, bitch. No, you can't hit me.
You might have thought the woman learned her lesson right then, right? But nope. She then called the police and quite arrogantly started giving the guy orders, as if he were a trained dog. She told him to stand still and not leave. The young man, visibly annoyed, still tried to defend himself, but the argument was getting hotter by the minute. To top it off, the woman started snapping pictures of the guy and even the license plate of his car. What did the young man do? He got in his vehicle and just drove away, leaving her there talking to herself. Anyone who works in customer service has a guaranteed spot in heaven, right alongside dogs and cats, don't you think? And this waitress definitely earned her place up there. She was in the restaurant just doing her job like any good service professional. After taking an order from a table, she went over to the counter completely focused on what she was doing. Then, as if the day wasn't tough enough, a jerk popped up out of nowhere and decided to mess with her. But he had no idea that besides being a waitress, the woman was also a skilled ninja. She was already on the edge, and the very next second, she went after the idiot. In one single move, she knocked him down so fast and smoothly that he didn't even have time to figure out what was going on. This guy is definitely not going to mess with a waitress again. Having nothing to do can be complicated, right? The guy in this video, instead of washing dishes or mowing a lawn, decided to pretend he was a mannequin at the end of an escalator. He stood there, completely still, while 3 guys passed by him without even noticing. A couple was getting off the escalator with a pregnant woman, and the mannequin didn't pay any attention to that little detail. When the couple passed by, he decided to let out a shout right next to the woman's ear, scaring her. What he didn't count on was that her partner would not be one bit happy with that prank. Even though one quick scare usually isn't harmful to a pregnancy, keep in mind that not everyone knows that. And by the looks of it, the future dad didn't want to take any chances. What happened? The mannequin ended up on the floor and got a lesson in good conduct, courtesy of the other guy's shoe, who was clearly very upset. Moral of the story, whoever dishes it out ends up getting served. Next time, it's better to think twice before trying to scare a pregnant woman, or anyone you're not close to for that matter. A couple was at a resort, living their best life until things got out of control and the police had to be called in to stop the chaos. What happened next was caught on the officers' body cams, and the mess created by these two was intense. The woman, already visibly upset, started yelling at everyone around, calling the resort guests pigs. When the police arrived, she defended herself by saying she was just exercising her freedom of speech. The officers' patience was tested because they spent 13 minutes politely asking the couple to leave the property. But as we know, there are many types of drunks. Some cry, some sleep, and guess which kind this lady was.
Let's go.
Not gonna be touched.
Or I'm gonna escort you out. Let's go.
Touch me. I don't
Let's
wanna
go.
be touched.
Let's go. Walk to the room.
This is not right.
Even though the couple left the place as the officers asked, they kept grumbling and arguing the whole time. The woman, crying, acted like the world was ending just because she couldn't stay at the resort anymore. When told to gather her things and leave, she couldn't hold back. She took off her cover-up and was left in just her bikini, and even broke her phone by accident while still making a scene. Afterward, she put her clothes back on. Meanwhile, the man, way calmer, grabbed his stuff, called an Uber, and left with as little fuss as possible. Still very drunk but pretty chill about the situation. While the man was already walking away without a fuss, the woman carried on her emotional show, begging the cops to arrest her.
Oh, take me to jail! Take me to jail already! I'm over it!
In the end, that's exactly what happened. She got handcuffed and taken to the police car. In January of 2024, two guys showed up at a bar but soon ran into a problem. They had no IDs and, of course, couldn't get in. Instead of just turning around and leaving, they decided to get revenge in the most ridiculous way. What did they do? They destroyed a car that was parked outside the bar. And of course, they didn't stop there. They broke one of the windows of the vehicle, which had nothing to do with the story but ended up as the target of their rage. But the craziest part was still coming. When two other men came out of the bar and saw what was happening, one of them had a pretty unusual idea. He grabbed a chair and went after those guys. What was supposed to be just a silly act of revenge for not getting into the bar turned into total chaos. Now, the two who started it all for no good reason found themselves in an even messier, more tense situation. Besides the beating they took on the spot, they surely got arrested afterward. A woman decided to stir up trouble in a department store in June of 2024. She had already been told several times to leave, but she ignored all the employees' requests and decided to sit under one of the checkout counters, not caring about the scene. When the employee saw that things were getting ugly, she called the police to handle it. When the officers arrived, the woman was in full drama mode, almost like a tantrum-throwing child. Her explanation? She wanted a discount, and she kept insisting that because her boyfriend worked for the company, she deserved the perk. Apparently, though, he didn't actually work at that specific store.
They give their employees discounts, and my boyfriend works for the company and he has my money.
The cops, calmly, tried to explain that she had to leave or she'd be arrested. She, however, kept going with the same story, asking if she'd be arrested just for wanting a discount. After a lot of back and forth, the woman was handcuffed and taken away, still arguing that it was all because of a simple discount. This attack came out of nowhere, and nobody knows the exact reason for it to this day. Seen through a car's rearview mirror, a man stepped out of his own vehicle, walked over to someone else's car, opened the door, and yanked the driver out, getting aggressive right from the start. Things got tense fast, and soon the two began fighting physically.
This nigga. Beat that boy ass, boy! Beat that boy ass, boy! Beat that boy ass, boy!
What's strangest of all is that the young man in another car, who was just watching, did absolutely nothing to help. He just kept yelling, egging on the fight. But then the situation took a surprising turn. Suddenly, a blonde woman who was in the car with the man who started the confrontation rushed out to stop the fight. She moved quickly and managed to keep things from escalating further. So yeah, if you're that much of a wimp, maybe don't go around surprising drivers by attacking them, you know? Or you'll end up looking this foolish. Ellie Masukovich got famous in the worst way, and this video full of shouting and tension is the reason. What seemed like a simple traffic stop turned into sheer chaos. The young woman was approached by the police, but instead of cooperating, she started screaming that the officers had no right to search her car. They asked her to calm down, but she ignored them, and things got so out of hand that Ellie ended up cuffed. But the drama didn't stop there. While being handcuffed, in a moment of high tension, Ellie started thrashing around, getting more and more upset. Once inside the patrol car, it only got worse. Ellie tried to break free, thrashing like crazy in the back of the police car. To restrain her, the cops had to use the wrap, a body restraint system meant to temporarily subdue someone in situations like this. Even tied up, Ellie wouldn't calm down. She kept thrashing around in the vehicle, screaming and trying to break loose. When the cops finally searched her car, they found alcohol and even illegal substances. When she was finally placed in an isolation cell, Ellie kept causing trouble, kicking the walls and screaming for her freedom, insisting she didn't deserve to be there. Well, she could have just followed the law, or at least not put up so much resistance, and she wouldn't have embarrassed herself like that. During an argument, a woman got carried away. She decided to go after a guy who was way bigger than her and ended up paying the price. These days, it seems some people have totally lost their sense of danger, getting themselves into risky situations like this blonde in the video. But the big guy didn't let it slide. Being much stronger, he simply lifted her off the ground and placed her back in her place. I don't even have to say that after that, the woman ended up on the floor in a pretty unpleasant way. But seriously, what did she expect? Next time, she'd better calm down and try to solve things in a more civilized way. It's worth remembering that violence is never the best solution, but the guy was just defending himself. A rear-facing dashcam caught a jerk driving a white car who kept ramming into the back of the vehicle ahead. It all lasted only 22 seconds, but karma was immediate. When the white car driver tried to speed up to hit even harder, he ended up setting off his own airbags. It seemed like the aggressive driver wanted to pressure the car in front, but the situation backfired in an instant. Instead of causing more damage to the other vehicle, he ended up with airbags right in his face, learning firsthand that rushing things in traffic isn't always the smartest move. In February of 2023, in Florida in the United States, body cam footage captured a lady refusing to leave a bar. When the officers arrived, she was standing by the counter acting as if nothing was wrong. The cops, as usual, politely told her to leave, letting her know that if she didn't, she would be arrested. The lady seemed totally confused and couldn't understand why she was being told to leave. She started repeatedly asking what she had done wrong to be removed from the bar, even as she began walking toward the exit. Even then, she kept questioning the officers, not grasping why they were treating her that way.
What I do?
Let's go. I'll talk to you once we're off
I'm
the...
already walking.
right.
What did I
Okay,
do?
let's go. Come on.
What did I do? Tell me.
Over time, the cops lost patience, handcuffing her and pinning her to the floor. Even with things pretty much under control, she kept asking what she had done to deserve it. Once they finally put her in the patrol car, she repeated the same question, still not realizing that refusing to leave the bar and disobeying an officer's order were what led to her arrest. Despite the officer's explanations, she tried to dodge responsibility, acting like it was all some big misunderstanding. In the end, it was obvious she was just trying to avoid punishment, but there was no getting out of it. She was taken to the station and formally charged. Riding a bike on roads with no bike lane can be dangerous, as this video clearly shows. The driver of a white car steered way to the left, probably trying to make the cyclist's life difficult, and ended up knocking him off his bike. Pretty upset, the cyclist went over to the car and kicked the right side of the vehicle. When the driver made a sudden stop, the cyclist took the chance to act. He went around the other side of the car, just as the driver was about to get out, but things didn't go how the driver planned. For sure, the driver must have been thinking he was going to deal with the cyclist, but the exact opposite happened. With the door being slammed in his face, the driver had no chance to react. He tried to get out of the car, but the cyclist wasn't letting him, yelling at him right there by the window. Hopefully he learned his lesson and won't go around picking fights with cyclists again. The impatient driver of a Jeep tried to cut traffic by using the bike lane to overtake a school bus and the car with the dash cam. But karma did its job, and before the driver could get past the bus, the light turned green. The bus turned left and ended up scraping the Jeep, causing some financial damage. Justice was served on the spot, and with the camera rolling, there was no denying it. The driver who tried to be clever ended up paying the price for breaking traffic rules. This is a reminder that sometimes karma is quicker than you think, and everything can be filmed, revealing the consequences of not respecting the law. Don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.